Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook. But it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
All right. Welcome to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. I have a business called Robert Lane Coaching, and maybe this is the first time you're tuning in. Welcome. I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I specialize in helping nonfiction authors turn their book into an audiobook that they themselves, the author, narrate, because there's nobody on this planet that can narrate your book as a nonfiction author better than you. It's your story. It's in your own voice. And there isn't anybody who can tell your story better than you. And that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. We have a very special guest we're going to bring on in just a second. Just a couple of things I want to share with you. If you are a nonfiction author and you are interested in finding out more about the audiobook coaching program that I teach, which is called Your Book, Your Voice, one simple step, and that's all you need to do, is just schedule a quick audiobook consultation call with me. There's a graphic on the screen for those of you who can check it out, who are seeing the video portion of the podcast, with a link there, which is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. You just go to that link, book a call. It goes to my personal calendar, and we'll talk about your book, what your goals are, and I'll give you more details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. The other thing that I want to share with you quickly is that I always have a freebie that I love to give away, and that is an audiobook narration reference guide that has some tools and techniques and tips on how to do a great audiobook narration, both from the practical aspect, like mic placement and body posture and keeping yourself hydrated and those types of things, to the intangibles, to things like your energy, your emotion, how to be consistent, and bringing those things that maybe you don't physically touch, but you emotionally feel, because that's what really makes a great audiobook, is when you bring your unique style and personality into it. So there are some good techniques in there for you to check out. It's a free download. That link is also a bit.ly link, bit.ly/narration reference guide. You can pick that up and download it for free. And also, just a quick reminder that you can find all this information at robertlanecoaching.com. All right, I'm excited to bring on a very special guest. So I'd like to welcome to the show Kevin D. Williams. Kevin Williams is the founder and CEO of Team Vision Media, which we'll be talking a little bit more in detail about your business there, Kevin. You're also a certified speaking coach, which is awesome. Love that. And you are a published author, which we really love that. So you got this book called Unlocking Opportunities, the ultimate guide to excelling at networking events and the perfect elevator pitch, which is something I'm excited to talk to you more in detail about. So thank you, Kevin, so much for joining the podcast today.
You know, Robert, it's definitely an honor, a privilege, as well as a pleasure to be on this show. And so I'm excited. And let's give the viewers and the replay viewers something that they can walk away with and put in their tool belt.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the first thing I just want to talk about, can you give us more details about your business, about Team Vision Media? What is it that you do, and what would people expect when they go to your website?
Robert, I think the best way to share that is how Team Vision even came into fruition. And so in April of 2014, at the time she was my girlfriend, she's my wife today, we started Team Vision. And Team Vision actually started out as a marketing agency. Now, the interesting thing about it, Robert, is that I was still doing outdated marketing. I was still putting flyers on people's cars, and I come back and they all on the ground. And I mean, I did not want to change. And that's hard for us to do. You
Yeah.
know, and believe it or not, change is good. Even though we don't want to do it, it's good. And so for 2 years, I couldn't get it off the ground. And one day, a friend of mine by the name of Cordell Chambers gave me a call, and he said, "Hey, Coach, um, have you ever heard of Toastmasters?" I said, "No. What is that? Is it where fellowship over a piece of toast? What is it?" He said, "No, no." He said, Toastmasters is a organization where they help you to improve your speaking. I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You may want to check it out." And so he got my attention, and this was in Arkansas, Little Rock.
Hmm.
And I visited 3 different Toastmasters, but I fell in love with one, and it's called High Noon Toastmasters, Robert. We would meet every Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. And I witnessed, because you have to come 3 times to see if it's a good fit for you.
Hmm.
And every time I came, I saw what they were able to accomplish in that short amount of time when it came to speaking, whether it was leadership, it was you being a timer, you being the grammarian, you know, I mean, all these different moving pieces was happening in 60 minutes. And so I
Hmm.
joined, and about 3 to 5 months into it, uh, they were having a world championship of public speaking. Now, what you have to know about me, Robert, is that I'm willing to do anything once, right? Like, because if I don't do it, then it's no way I can even remotely win at something if I don't do it. And so I entered into the World Championship public speaking on the so we everything starts on the club level. Now there's an attorney. His name was Chris. He reminds you of the gentleman on the Netflix show called Suits, the one that's an actual attorney, right? And Chris had the previous year went all the way to Washington D.C. Now he didn't win, but the fact that he went all the way to join the other 99 winners who beat out worldwide 30,000, that was pretty
Wow.
impressive. Right.
Yeah.
And so I got to go against this guy. And so we did ours, me, Chris, and 2 other people. We all did our speeches. The judges came back and they said, third place is XYZ, second place is Chris, first place is Kevin. Now, I'm keeping my composure, just like this, Robert, on the outside. But on the inside, I'm saying they messed up. And it's just a matter of time before they say, oh, wait, we apologize. It's actually Chris, but it never happened. And so from the club level, you go on to what they call uh, state. And
Hmm.
same thing happened. I won state and end up going all the way to the regional level. And that's where I lost. And the reason I lost, Robert, was because the whole time that I was advancing, I was using someone else's story. I was using a third person story. The guy
Hmm.
who beat me at regionals used his own story. And
Hmm.
so that's when it hit me that sometimes we feel like our story isn't good enough. And so we don't use it. And so that was a lesson for me. And so now, because I went on to advance myself in storytelling, training, and speaking, there's not a story that has happened in my life that I have learned from and gotten over that I can't make applicable to wherever I go speak. And so
Hmm.
the speaking is what actually built the platform for Team Vision.
Got it. Got it. So in your business there, so are you just really now only focused as a speaking coach? So you're not really doing any of the other marketing that you used to do.
We do, but we do it for authors who are wanting to be speakers or
Hmm.
both someone who wants to be an author and a speaker at the same time,
Hmm.
because we have a course called the Author Speaker Blueprint from the page to the stage. And that's basically, Robert, extracting your experience and your expertise, and we turn it into a book for you to monetize, because there's more money in what we know than it'll ever be in what we do.
Agree. Yeah, agree with you 100%. It's life experience, and we all have them. We all have, everybody experiences things in different ways, and to bring that, that's what makes it so unique. Would you
Mhm.
agree, Kevin?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, so that is really great, and you have a program that helps people develop their personal stories and how to be able to get those thoughts across in a very, like you say, applicable way for them to be able
Mhm.
to stand out
Mhm.
on a stage and share their experiences and their stories. That's
Mhm.
great. So the pivotal moment for you, Kevin, would that be your Toastmasters experience that really was like the major shift into the path that has led you down to where you are today?
Absolutely. That, and the first speaking opportunity that was presented to me, Robert, I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, on West Markham Street, sitting inside Chick-fil-A. Now, for those of you that don't know, Chick-fil-A is my hero, from the service to the food. And I would visit that Chick-fil-A, Robert, 3 times a day. Breakfast, then I'll go for lunch and pick up lunch for my daughter. And then I would, when she was younger at the time in elementary, I would pick her up from school and we would go and have dinner at Chick-fil-A. And so one day, the owner operator, whose name is John Spence, came up to me and said, "Hey, Kevin, you mind if I sit down with you?" I said, "No, John, absolutely. Have a seat." And he said, "Well, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for, just being a loyal Chick-fil-A customer of ours." I said, "Oh, absolutely. It's the service." And he said, "We're putting together a leadership training program for our team members. And I was wanting to know, would you be interested in coming in and training? Because I noticed how you read a lot on leadership." And I said, "John, absolutely." And he said, "So there are 2 ways I can compensate you. I can compensate you, with a check, or I can, compensate you for, a month of Chick-fil-A." Robert, which one do you think I took?
I'm going to say Chick-fil-A, my friend.
Robert, true story. I can't make this stuff up. My first speaking gig was a $250 Chick-fil-A card. But let me tell you what I did. I made sure I had a photographer with me that day, and I gave him, you would have thought they paid me $250,000. And from that, I was, because social media was around at that time.
Yeah.
I started putting that on social media, and that's how I had companies and corporations started reaching out to me. You want to know why? Because see, if Chick-fil-A says I'm good enough to come in, why wouldn't these other companies say the same thing? Chick-fil-A is known for their services, the service they provide us on a day-to-day basis. Not to
Yeah.
mention their food, but overall, it's the service.
Yeah, and that is utilizing social media in a very positive way, and a
Mhm.
great way to promote yourself and to promote your business. And that's something that I tell the clients that go through my audiobook coaching program, is that show them your journey.
Mhm.
Post about what you're doing, and let people in. Give them the behind the scenes, because that draws excitement, that draws
Mhm.
and what you did is brilliant. It really is brilliant in utilizing social media to your advantage to help build your business, and eventually get you to be doing more speaking engagements. So that's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
Now, when did you publish your book?
So there's a story behind that too, Robert.
I'm sure.
Okay, so at this time, uh, of course, I'm currently living in Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
and I knew coming here to Texas, if I was going to let people know what Kevin Williams' skill set is, I knew I was going to have to get out here and do a lot of networking. So
Yeah.
the first year being here, I was going to like, and this is in one day, Robert, like 2 or 3 networking events a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And one day I did it for 7 days a week. And the word started getting around about, me being able to take anyone's profession and become them and show them the right way to network and the right way to communicate.
Yeah.
And I was at a chamber event. It was a power breakfast chamber event. And I had did a workshop for them about a month ago. And they had one of the platinum presenters that morning. It's a huge cable company out here called Spectrum. This
Mm-hmm.
particular side of the business called Spectrum Reach. And they heard me do my elevator pitch. And they wanted me to work with their sales team. And I remember we had a Zoom meeting. And they said, well, Kevin, we definitely going to hire you, but we also want to order 300 books from you.
Mm.
What's the name of your book? And I said, I don't have a book to speak. And I said, but let me recommend this book that I got value out of, and I'm sure that you all will too. I gave them the name of that book while we were on Zoom, Robert. I sat and watched them order 300 copies of
Wow.
someone they knew nothing about
Yeah.
based on my recommendation. That author that morning in less than 10 minutes probably made over $3,000, if not more, because the book was $25.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
That's a great story. We got to take a break, Kevin. We're going to just do a quick break. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. My very special guest is Kevin D. Williams. He's an author. He is a speaking coach. He's sharing some great information. We're going to dive into more details about your book, Kevin. I want to hear more about this story as well. So we're definitely gonna hit on that. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. If you'd like to join us, because we are live right now, there is a phone number that you can reach us at, which is 866-451-1451. If you'd like to call in and ask Kevin any questions. 866-451-1451, or you can always comment in the chat. I'm Robert A. Lane. We will be right back, so don't go away.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. Rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies. Find settings that allow them to be the most productive and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
All right, welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. I'm an audiobook coach and producer with my business, Robert Lane Coaching. If you want to find out more about what I do, if you're a nonfiction author and you want to turn your book into an audiobook, then by all means, go ahead and visit robertlanecoaching.com for more information. But tonight, again, our very special guest is Kevin D. Williams, who is a speaking coach, who is a published author, who is the founder and CEO of Team Vision Media. And we were just talking, Kevin was just sharing a great story about what was the catalyst for getting that book written. And I tell you, that is one heck of a catalyst when you refer someone else's book and they make a huge book
Yeah,
sale when it should be your book.
yeah, yeah. And so at that point, Robert, I said, man, I can't keep losing money like this.
Yeah.
And a young lady uh, found me on Eventbrite. I was doing a free webinar
Hmm.
on mastering the art of networking events and crafting the perfect elevator pitch. And so she got a lot of value from that webinar and she signed up for my course. And then after that, she signed up for my world class signature storytelling speaking
Hmm.
course. And in that, it was that course, Robert, that changed the course for me. And I'll never forget. Her name is Kelly Brooks, and Kelly said, "Mr. Williams, can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead, Kelly." Uh, so why haven't you written a book? I said, Jesus, here we go. I said, Kelly, you know what? It's funny. You should ask that question because I recently lost over $3,000 with a company that I was going to do training for, that I was doing training for. And I said, but Kelly, I really, I don't even know where to even start. And these were her exact words, Robert. She said, Mr. Williams, you could start by paying me. I said, you know what? That's a great start. Let's get started. And the book, Unlocking Opportunities, the ultimate guide to excelling at networking events and crafting the perfect elevator pitch, was written because when my daughter was younger, I had real bad communication challenges to communicating with her, Robert. You see, when I was growing up as a kid, the communication that I thought was communication was in the form of, hollering at me, cussing at me, fussing at
Hmm.
me. And so I took in those characteristics and I started displaying them to my daughter. And I'll never forget this. I still have the letter today, Robert. I'm gonna read this letter to you. She wrote to me when she was younger, and she's 22 today. And let me put my glasses on. So, make sure. Look, when you get in your 50s, boy, yeah, everybody at the
I
dinner
hear you.
table have to
Oh,
put on glasses to read the menu.
yeah, that's why these things are on.
Right. She said, "Dear Daddy, I don't know what to do. Like, Daddy, I'm sorry for doing what I did. I don't like getting whoopings. I love you dearly for you." She said, "I love you dearly, but for you to break my heart, you mean the world to me. You think I dummy myself down, or you say I try to fit in, and that's not the case. I feel like I'm not really cared for." That hurt me right there.
Mm,
I know you say you do, but I feel like I'm telling you the truth and you should trust me. And then here's the next thing that was said about her, and this was a defining moment for me. She said, "I don't see you the way I used to see you. I love you
mm,
so much, but all I'm really asking for is can we have our bond back together? I wanted to tell you this, but I thought you were going to get mad." That letter was a defining moment for me, Robert, to
mm.
start seeking some type of professional counseling, or also known as therapy. And
Yeah.
so when I did, I received the tools of communication. But I didn't stop there. I
Mm,
started picking up any and every book, Robert, that had anything on communication skills, communication training, and I engrossed myself in it so much that I want to become a master at communication. Now, today, she and
Yeah.
I have the best relationship ever. As a matter of fact, she, stays with us here in Dallas, Texas. And so that is the biggest reason why the book was written. The second reason was that I knew introverts needed a book that could give them the tools that they need when it comes to networking events.
Yes.
And so that was the purpose of that book.
Yeah. Well, one thing, Kevin, I just need to mention is that I am really impressed with your daughter to be brave enough to write that letter. I mean, that shows a tremendous amount of love.
Hmm.
And wow, that's I've nothing but accolades for her to do that. That's really incredible. Thank you for sharing that, because
Hmm.
that's a really beautiful thing to share.
Hmm.
And like you say, a pivotal moment, an eye opener. Wow, that's really great.
Hmm.
Um, and you have some really interesting points that you bring up in your book, uh, that I do want to go over and get your insight on that as well. Now, I know you talk about in the book about the power of first impressions, and there's a couple of things that I want to get your take on. One is, of course, when you meet people in person, first impression, obviously really important, and also how do you help people, maybe if it's something that's virtual or online? Is it different? Do you approach it in a different way? So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. You know, I'll say this, and this will really put communication, even as it relates to networking, in perspective.
Mhm.
The least influential word that most people use on a daily basis, and it could be costing you anywhere from 100, maybe even $1,000 a day, whether you are, closing the deal or you're at networking events. But the least influential word that we use the most is the word I.
Mhm.
I am this, or I am the founder, or I am the CEO, or I am the OOO, only operating officer in my business. It's always I. So when we're communicating with someone, it's hard for the other person to see what it is that you can help them with when we're constantly using the word I.
Mm. That is a good point, because again, presenting yourself as a problem solver, as someone who has solutions. If you say, "Hey, yeah, well, I do this and I do that," well, now you're turning the focus back on yourself as opposed to bringing the focus to the person that you want to help and that you
Mhm.
want maybe to get them to work with you.
Mhm.
Uh, that's a great point. So, are there some tips that you can give to help reprogram our brains from doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to networking, Robert, and we're gonna role play real quick, okay? So we're gonna pretend this that we are at a networking event,
Sure.
and I know you got a little bit of insight, but just if you normally what you would normally do if you were at a networking event, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna approach you and I'm gonna introduce myself to you, and you're going to introduce yourself back to me, and I'm going to ask that magical question that we always ask, and that's what you do, right? And then I want to just hear what you say, and then when you're done, I want you to ask me what we do, and I want you to hear what I say, and then I want you to tell me the difference. Okay?
All right. Sounds
All right,
good.
here we go. Hey man, I'm Kevin. What's your name?
I'm Robert. Nice to meet you.
Hey Robert, good to meet. Now, are you Robert Redford or just Robert?
I know people get confused. I see the resemblance, but it's Robert Lane.
All right, so Robert Lane, what exactly is it that you do?
All right. Well, I have a business called Robert Lane Coaching, and I specialize in helping nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook in their own voice and publish them on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. What do you
Okay.
do, Kevin?
Robert, let me ask you this question. Have you ever been
Sure.
to a networking event and you were
Ah,
talking to someone? You were talking to someone, and the moment you all finished and you walked away, you still was a little confused about what they do?
yeah, sometimes that does happen. Yeah.
So, Robert, what we do is we work with you on getting clear and concise with your communication so that in the first 5 to 7 seconds, because that's all you typically have, for someone to understand instantly what it is that you do so they can connect with you to get the service that you provide, whether it's a product, whether it's a service. We want to make sure that you're clear.
Ah, yeah, that's really great. Clarity is key.
hmm And so now, Robert, tell me the difference in what you share with me and the difference in what I share with you.
Right. So when I share what I do, of course, I say I. So that was, and I kind of purposely did that because I want you
hmm
uh,
hmm
to rip it apart, and I want you
hmm
to, you're, because you are the expert. You're the speaking expert in elevator pitch, which is something that I definitely wanted to dive into because, as you say, you only have a short amount of time to make that connection, and you want to make, and again, like you say, clarity is key. So
hmm
so yeah, and the difference is that you said you, and how we can help you, and that is a key factor.
Yeah. And then did you also notice, Robert, that when you asked me what it is uh, that I do, did you notice I opened up asking you a question?
Ah, yes, you did. That's right.
hmm hmm
That's right.
hmm
That's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see it. So what you're doing basically is that by asking a question, you're allowing the person that you've just met a chance to see that you're not doing, oh, it's all about me. It is all about you.
hmm hmm
And now, depending on how the person answers the question, and now when you do ask the question, uh, you're making it simple enough for them just to give you a quick response that will then trigger what you
hmm
want to say in regards
hmm
to what you do for your business. Is that correct?
hmm Yes. Yes. Because see, the thing about communication, Robert, is that it doesn't matter what your profession is. If you cannot communicate in a way that a third grader can understand what you're
Yeah.
doing, then you're talking over people's head. And that's what most people do. Most people talk in industry language that they're in to the people that is not in their industry.
Mm, very good point. Very good point. Um, Kevin, we got to take another quick break.
Mhm.
Time's flying by, which is great. I love this. This is a really, really good conversation, and I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your tips. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. My very special guest is Kevin Williams, who is a speaker, a speaking coach, and who is sharing some really good insight on elevator pitch and networking, just all these great tools that we can utilize, whether it's for business or even for personal. Good stuff. We will be right back. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And welcome back, my friends, to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Our very special guest today is Kevin D. Williams, who is a certified speaking coach who has been sharing some really great information about networking, how to network. And we're going to dive into, we started talking about before the break about the elevator pitch. And we're going to really dive into this in more detail because it really is important to be able to get your point across succinctly, very concisely, and effectively. So, Kevin, let's dive into this in more detail. And maybe there's some people out there who don't really understand what an elevator pitch is. So let's step back, give a definition, and then let's dive right in.
So my simple definition of an elevator pitch is something that captures people's attention immediately and they want to know more. And it's done in a very it's done typically within 30, sometimes 60 seconds. And so I have really studied the art of the elevator pitch when it comes to networking, when it comes to doing elevator pitch competitions. Now we're just going to deal with the elevator pitch when we're at networking events, because there are situations where the event planner or the organizer may make that announcement and say, all right, everyone, this is the moment that, well, we know a few of you have been waiting on. And that's the elevator pitch, where you have an opportunity to come up and share with the entire group or the entire audience what it is that you do. And you only have 60 seconds, okay? You got to be mindful that you have 60 seconds. And this is where most people blow it, Robert. They get up there and they start with unnecessary words. They start going all over the place, and then they lose track of time. What was supposed to be 60 seconds, now you've been up there for 2 minutes. And so if you didn't get their attention in the first 5 to 10 seconds, people go from listening to what you say to hearing what you're saying. And we know, and there's a difference. Especially if, for us men that's married and our spouse says something that didn't sit well in our ears, what do we say? Yeah, I hear you. Right? We make that look, and then we make that sound. I hear you. But if they say something that get our attention, right, we say, okay, babe, I'm listening to you. I'm listening. Right? And so that's the difference. And so I want to take the acronym, or I want to take the word pitch, and I create an acronym for it. So the P, and then when I give you this acronym, it doesn't mean that your pitch has to be in this order. It just means all the components need to be in your pitch. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So the P in pitch stands for precise. your pitch should be very precise and concise when you give it. It shouldn't be all over the place. Like sometimes people when they're pitching, they go from this is what I do to this is also what I do. And then also we got this going on too, right? So what
Mm,
happens? A confused mind will always say no. It's just too much going on. I'm not even clear what you do. Okay. Do you are you a carpenter or are you do y'all own a bakery? I mean, what is it that you do? Right? It's just all over the place.
yeah. Yeah.
The I in the word pitch stands for impact.
Mm,
Your pitch should have a strong impact. It should impact me. The T in the word pitch stands for target. Who is your target audience? And we have to stop saying, well, everybody. No, everybody is
yeah.
not your target audience. See, if you're marketing to everyone at the end of the day, you're marketing to no one.
Absolutely.
The C in the word pitch stands for clear. How clear is your message? Is it clear enough that a third grader can understand? Or is it confusing that nobody understands? And finally, the H in the word pitch stands for hook. What do you do to hook me right out the gate? Because if you don't hook us right out the gate, we go from listening to hearing you.
Hmm.
You ever been somewhere, Robert, and the speaker didn't hook you and you started messing with your phone? Let me answer this text right quick. Right? Yeah. So that means
Yeah.
that they didn't hook you. And the thing that you should leave first when you pitching is the hook. So let me give you an example where all the components you're going to hear in my pitch are
Okay.
there. Okay. So here
Yeah.
we go. Raise your hand if you want to be better in 2025 than you were in 2024 when it comes to networking and your elevator pitch. Yeah, me too. And so what you don't know is that 97% of the people who come to networking events are not networking properly. And when they have the chance to do their elevator pitch, they're not pitching properly. Think about the people that you heard pitch and it was so confusing you started doing something else on your phone. Now here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to give you the tools that you need to crush the competition at networking events, crush the competition when you do your elevator pitch, and you're going to generate leads. We go to networking events for leads. Am I right? Raise your hand if that's true. Yeah. And so here's what I want you to do real quick. Take your phone out, and I want you to put this in your phone, this number. Okay. If you have your phone, show me your phone. You're going to put this number in your phone, and then you're going to put this in your message. You're going to put your first and last name, and you're going to put the word unlock. And I want you to send that to me, and I'm going to send you a free gift. You're going to get a gift on networking, compliments of Team Vision.
Great. Now, I have a question for you, Kevin. If somebody asks you, again, hey, nice to meet you. So, what do you do? Do you ever say a title, or do you ever say anything that of that nature?
No, so let's address that, Robert. How much time do we have? Because I want to be respectful.
Yeah, we got a few minutes before we take our last break, and then we have a shorter segment. But I think we can get
Okay.
into this.
Robert, what do you sell?
I'm sorry.
What do you sell? Tell me what you sell.
What I sell? I'm an audiobook coach
Okay.
and producer.
All right. That's a good answer. It's just not the right answer, but I'm gonna give you the right answer.
Okay.
12 years ago, my mom had a massive stroke, paralyzed the left side of her body. And it was because of bad eating habits, lack of, physical exercising. And so for 3 months, she had to rehab her left side. So she got probably about 60% of the functionality back. And she did good eating right for about 2 months. And then, we're creatures of habit, right? And she started back, in the morning time, breakfast for her was a pound cake and a Coca-Cola. That was breakfast. You
Mm.
can't do that. And so
No.
sure enough, we caught up with her. And one Saturday evening, uh, again, Wendy was my girlfriend at the time. She's my wife today. We upstairs, and I heard what it sounded like my mom calling me. So I come down. She slumped over like this. And I said, Mama, Mama. And she raised up and looked at me and went back down. Now, I am a CPR and first aid instructor. That went out the door. I didn't remember none of that stuff. Luckily, Wendy is a healthcare provider. She started administering CPR to my mom. And we got her to the University of Arkansas Medical Science. My oldest sister, Kathy, who's a nurse practitioner, she was working that shift that night. We all in the ER. Robert, they're doing everything for about 40 minutes. Nothing.
Mm.
And so the team came to me and my sister, and they said, Kathy, whatever you want, whatever you and your brother want us to do, we will honor that. And so my sister looked at me and she said, what do you want to do, Kevin? I said, that's enough. So sure enough, we lost my mom.
Mm.
After we had her celebration, I noticed my sister and her family were doing the same bad habits as my mom. And so I reached
Mm.
out to her and I said, Kathy, just in honor of mom, can we change up our eating and can we just start going out to Forest Heights track and field just to walk? And they agreed to do it. And so, Robert, we were doing that, and I was just sharing on social media what my family and I were doing in honor of my mom. A lady reached out to me and she asked me, first of all, she said, I want to just, say I commend what you all doing in honor of your mom, Kevin. I have a son who can't play football until he lose some weight, and I have another son who just need to go with him to work out. Can you help me? I said, I'm sure I can. It'll probably take about 6 to 8 weeks, but we can get that weight off of him. Every week, I was just kind of showing the progress of this young man. Robert, before you knew it, I had a outside fitness boot camp. 5:30 a.m. in the morning, 40 or 50 people. 5:30 p.m. in the evening, about 40 or 50 people. But what was interesting in the whole time, Robert, no one ever asked me, Kevin, do you have a fitness training certification? Kevin, are you a certified personal trainer? Kevin, do you even have a degree in exercising, right? Robert, no one ever asked me that. Why do you think no one ever asked that question?
Because you provided results.
There it is, Robert. That's all we buy. So when I always ask the question what you sell, I always get all these different answers. What we sell is results.
Ah, yes.
That's what we
Yes.
sell. And so that is how I sell to people. I'm selling them the results that they can get from what it is I provide. They don't care about you saying I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I'm the people don't that is stroking your ego. That's doing nothing for me. I'm trying to hear what is the result that you have that I can get from you so I can buy.
That's the key. That is the key. And you're right. And it does take a skill set to change your thinking and to be able to present it in a way where you can present a result uh, in a way that people can relate to and that they understand and that gives them the opportunity to go, you know what, man, I do want to work with this person because they are providing something that I can use. He or she has a solution that
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeking.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. We do have to take one more quick break, Kevin. Let's do a summary when we come back, and then I also want you to be able to let people know how they can find you, follow you as well. So we'll do that when we come back. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Our very special guest is Kevin Williams. We will be right back to wrap things up here. Don't go away.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zurich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network. Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We've been getting some really great information and just some really cool tools and techniques to help you be a better speaker, to be a better networker, to really hone in your skills when it comes to your elevator pitch. So Kevin Williams, who is our guest tonight, has just been fantastic. Kevin, can you just quickly summarize some of the key points that you want to share in regards to what you've talked about today on the podcast, and also some of the key points that you want to share about your book?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. In reference to the key points about networking, networking is a two-way street. It's never a one-way street. However, we approach it that way. As a matter of fact, there's a term that I use, and it's called one-night stand networking. It's almost like the term one-night stand. And so what does that mean, Kevin? When we do one-night stand networking, this is what it looks like. It's you throwing everything about what it is that you do on me and never gave me the opportunity to say what it is that we do, right?
Hmm.
And so even in a one night stand, if we did a comparison of 10 people, you may get lucky with one, but that's it. The other nine are going to shut you down because that's not what they're looking for. When
Hmm.
we're networking is like dating. You have to date the person. That's why it's such a challenge for most people to uh, be on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is first of all, LinkedIn is the number one online social networking platform. But you have to network. You can't treat LinkedIn. LinkedIn says we are not Facebook, we're not Instagram, we're not
Mhm.
TikTok. This platform is for you to build relationships with people. It's for you to provide education, and it's for you to comment on someone's post. This is what we're
Yeah.
about. And if you do those things, we will reward you with our algorithm. But when you do not do that, you would not, no one would see what you're constantly talking about. So the book Unlocking Opportunities, the ultimate guide to excelling at networking events and crafting the perfect elevator pitch, it works both offline
Mhm.
and online. But you need the tools. And
Yeah.
so imagine, that's like someone telling you they are a barber, but they have no clippers. But to me, you're not a barber. You may have the license on your wall, but until you have the clippers in your hand, you can't do anything to my well. I mean, even me being a
Yeah.
bald headed, you still can't do anything. So it's just the book is a tool for you to put on your tool belt to really uh, be ahead of your competition that are at networking events. That's what the book
Right.
is for. Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up one word, and which is I feel is key to all of this, and that is relationships. Building relationships, because that's what it's about. It's not about going to somebody's DMs and you know saying, and then it's always been a thing now where the messages that you get, these cold outreaches that are just like, this is what I do, buy my product. Where's the relationship in that?
Right.
There's none. you know so that is such a key factor to develop the relationship. And you know what, take the time to do it, because in the long run, that's what's going to build your business, not just some quick selling hack that you send cold outreach messages for. So I'm glad
Right.
you brought that up, Kevin, because relationships are really key.
Mhm.
Where can people follow you? What's the best place to get in touch with you?
So the first thing I'm going to challenge, since we're in the holiday spirit, I'm going to challenge you to invest in not one unlocking opportunities book, but two. I
Hmm.
want you to invest in yourself, but I also challenge you to invest the second book to someone else. Uh, every day should be a season of giving, right?
Yeah.
But in the spirit of December, we know that's the season that we typically recognize to give. So I'm going to challenge those people who want that tool on their tool belt, and they want to give the tool to someone else to put on their tool belt, to go to teamvisionmedia.com. That's TEAM V as in Victor, ISION, M as in Mary, EDIA.com, teamvisionmedia.com. And in that way, you now will have the key to unlock all the networking and elevator pitch opportunities from this book.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. Your insight has been fantastic. Your book is great, and that's a great idea. Buy the book for yourself. Gift it to somebody else. Do it, because you know what? It's just getting great information, and it's only going to make you a better business person and just a better person in general. And hey, if you are introverted and maybe you're a little bit of shy, this is a great way to learn some tools and techniques to help bring out the best of who you are, because we're all unique individuals, and that's what makes us stand out, is our uniqueness. And so let people know who you are and what you're about. And this book is a great way to do that. Again, thank you so much, Kevin, for being here on the podcast. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We're here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. One quick assignment, which I'm going to add to the assignment that Kevin gave you, and that's this. When you're out and about in the world, my friends, say hello to a stranger, smile at them, maybe give them a compliment, because you never know what someone's going through. And that small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's life. And what do we want to be? We want to be life changers. So be the rebel, put some positivity out there. And be nice to people, and spread some love and positivity. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Again, thank you, Kevin, for being a guest, and I'm wishing you the very best with your business as well. Take care, my friends. We'll be talking to you next week. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.